Good morning. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Nick DiGiulio, and I am the EVP of Sales at POI Business Interiors. Today, in POI's ongoing series of webinars, we are highlighting work from home. As the world continues to pull itself away from the first wave of COVID-19, hopefully the only wave of COVID-19, we are starting to see a shift in activity. Our environment is opening up again. People are on the streets, there is more traffic, we are becoming more adventurous, the sidewalks, parks, and stores all seem to be busier. In some areas of Ontario, churches, bars, community pools will soon be opening. And many, I am sure, are pleased that daycares are going to be opening again tomorrow. The majority of us are still working from home as companies try to figure out how, when, and who should start returning to the workplace. As you will see in the webinar today, people want and will be returning to the workplace. In fact, people are looking forward to returning to work at the office for a number of different reasons. However, one thing is now for certain. While companies and the office worker for the past decade have been slowly migrating to work from home, COVID-19 has caused a seismic shift and accelerated the process. Work from home is part of the new norm. Work from home plans and processes are now something that need to be integrated into the operations and policies of organizations. So while we know that there will be a return to the office for most, we also know that it will be different. Companies will need to be supporting work from home in some way. So the question that remains is, how do we support our workers who work from home as effectively as we have been supporting employees in the physical office space? Today, we have three key topics. We will provide insight on what we have learned about work from home. We will review work from home web opportunities we can provide to clients, and we will have a question and answer session. If you have a question throughout the presentation, just click on the chat button and write your question or comment, and we will make every effort to answer it. The overview will be provided by Julie Hicks, who is Studio Director at POI. Julie is an interior designer with an in-depth knowledge of the office worker and experience with firms both large and small. So let's get started. Over to you, Julie.
Thanks, Nick, and welcome everybody. Thanks for joining us today. You know, I was really excited when I was asked to share about this topic today, not just because it gave me an excuse to do my hair or put some makeup on, but because for many of us, this is our new reality. I'm joining you from my craft room in my basement. I was not a regular remote worker before the pandemic, so it's been a learning curve for me as well. Some people have never been happier working from home. However, there's a lot of folks out there that are struggling. There's also a lot of thoughts around the reasons for both of these responses, and today we're going to journey through some of those. As the studio director here at POI, my focus is in engaging with our architectural and design partners, as well as our clients, and leading our applications team in developing workplace solutions that will create inspirational environments. So I'm really thrilled to have the opportunity to talk to all of you today about this new horizon in the world of the workplace. And we've got lots to talk about, so I'm going to just dive in. In April of this year, Stats Canada released a survey showing that in March, 4.7 million Canadians who were not normally remote workers left their offices to work from their homes in response to the pandemic. This, in addition to the 2.1 million Canadians that were already working from home, made up nearly 40% of Canada's workforce, thus extending the workplace ecosystem out of the office towers and into our employee homes. Some have referred to the global response to the pandemic as a mass technology experiment. So now that we're just about 3 months in, we have to ask ourselves, what have we learned from this working from home experiment? We really still don't know exactly what the return to the office will look like, but we do know that the time away from the office for some has been a successful experience. With organizations like Shopify, Twitter, Facebook, and even Google opting to default to remote work for the foreseeable future, we know not all of us will be coming back all at once. Some of these successful experiences with working from home are most likely attributed to our ability to quickly adapt and to leverage technology. There were a number of companies that had made pre-investments in technology systems that allowed their teams to shift from to working from home pretty seamlessly. But there were others that were caught unprepared or maybe even a bit unwilling and were forced to quickly pivot, but they're up and running too. The road in the beginning might have been a little bumpy. I know my inbox and social media was flooded with memes and comedy skits of those first initial video calls. Like the one with the child coming into the room sharing a little bit too much personal information. And there's always that someone who thinks they're on mute when they're really not, but they really should be. So these communication software tools like Zoom and Teams, they've enabled people to smoothly adapt to their newly found work from home situations. And the experience for some companies have allowed them to discover that these technology tools and established protocols made working from home a success. Another big question that comes up often is whether or not the office centricity is over. Can work only be done when we're in the office? Well, we knew pre-pandemic that the work we're doing today is more human and more creative than ever. We know innovation is a key ingredient to business growth. Innovation relies on collaboration and creativity. We as humans have this innate need to interact, just simply part of our DNA, and creativity thrives on face-to-face interaction. We also have to remember that when we return to the office and our economies rebound, the war for talent will also return. Many people in our workforce today are most likely well-trained and they're confident in their roles, and it makes it easier for them to work from home. These new employees who are entering the workforce for the first time, or maybe they're new to a company, will likely struggle as they might not have a place to train and learn from others. The theme of today's conversation highlights the workspace as an ecosystem. Today's workspaces were not designed to mitigate the spread of pathogens. In fact, our workplaces are created to provide an ecosystem of spaces that support employee well-being and give them choice and control over how and where to do their best work. As a result of this, these spaces have been designed for creativity, agility, collaboration, all in order to stimulate innovation. What has been proven in this experiment is that focus work can be successful outside of our workplaces. However, we still need a place to build those important face-to-face relationships. So it's clear the workplace still holds a pretty strong purpose, and that one part of this ecosystem can't exist without the other. Some of the most successful collaborative experiences happen when there are establishing trusting relationships that have been developed over time through face-to-face interaction. I know for me, I'm much more willing to take risks at work when I know my teammates are going to back me up. So one might suggest that some of the successes of today's remote work experiments can be attributed to those pre-established trusting relationships. These relationships that already exist between colleagues have allowed for successful collaboration experiences to continue by using these available technology tools. City News Toronto put out a survey asking respondents what they miss most about their offices. The top two things in the survey were having a change of scenery and colleague interaction. The other two items that made the list were food options and work attire. I suppose not everyone's like me and likes to work in their sweatpants. However, this is just one of many surveys that are out there that have asked the same questions and pulled almost identical results. Even here at POI, when we surveyed our workforce about our return to the office, the top things employees were missing were face-to-face interactions and the ability to collaborate. Working from home has added another level of complexity of the workplace ecosystem. We need to ensure that we don't abandon all those guiding principles that already exist. and that our workforce experiences sustained well-being and we maintain productivity levels while working from home. Today, we're going to explore ways in which the home office can be augmented both to support organizational goals and employee well-being. Working remote demands a big mental shift. Having the right mindset when working from home is important, but having the right space to work in is key. For many, working from home was something they'd never experienced before. Finding temporary solutions at coffee tables, kitchen countertops, or even at the dining room table were quick fixes for many of these employees. What employees have been quick to discover is that these jerry-rigged home office setups, while an acceptable temporary fix, are definitely not sustainable over time. They've sacrificed their comfort, access to work tools, and have little or no distraction-free space. It seems clear that working from home may be the new normal for some. Whether at the office or at home, we have to keep in mind that space still has an impact on both physical and emotional well-being, and it's a critical driver in achieving productivity and innovation. The second part of the survey conducted by City News Toronto asked employees what they required in their home offices, and the response was that more than half of the employees said they needed better seating. Almost half of the employees said they needed a better desk, and a third of employees wanted an additional monitor. In another survey conducted by Steelcase, when respondents were asked about their home workspaces, only a third of the respondents said they had an ergonomic chair and that they don't have a workspace at home that's comfortable. Half of those respondents said they almost always work at a desk. Even POI has had an increase of requests for task chairs as people try to create more comfortable spaces at home. Now that we know how people are feeling about their work from home spaces, how do we help them augment these uncomfortable quick fixes to make certain that we continue to drive productivity and ensure employee retention? Well, we can start by talking about well-being. And when we do, we look at 4 principles: privacy, posture, proximity, and personality. Whether in the office or at home, these 4 principles are pieces of the well-being puzzle that result in both psychological comfort and increased productivity. When we think about the first principle, privacy, we need to consider that privacy comes in different levels and types. It can be visual, acoustic, or even territorial privacy, depending on the task at hand. When we finished our basement here at home, I portioned off a small square footage for this craft room. And at the time, I thought adding a glass door was just a brilliant idea. Fast forward to today, it's now my workspace and everyone is home. My kids know that when the doors close, they can't come in. Unfortunately, doesn't stop them from laying on the floor outside my office door, waiting for the next opportunity for my attention. Needless to say, I covered up my glass door today for this presentation. I was definitely not prepared for my home to become a co-working facility for this whole family. So be aware that factors such as background noise, lighting, visual distractions, and even climate control may affect your ability to work. While working from home is not always easy, creating private spaces that control the level of sensory stimulation is an important factor of maintaining emotional well-being. The next principle, probably the one I feel is the most important, is posture. When it comes to posture, the workplace performs best when it supports regular postural changes throughout the workday, providing choice and control over how to perform the task at hand. At home, when I cook in my kitchen, I require a different posture than when I'm watching movies on the sofa with my family. Work's really no different. Whether you're entering data into a spreadsheet or taking a conference call or watching a webinar like this one, they don't always require the same posture. So take advantage of the change in work mode and change your posture. Postures like sitting, standing, and lounging can help support the body in a position that's appropriate for the desired work mode. The ability to sit, stand, and move throughout the workday is essential in fostering physical well-being. Proximity. This is our third principle. This is really in the home office. It's about planning space to ensure easy access to work tools, appropriate furniture, power and technology, and even access to greenery and natural light. Being able to power your devices right at your desk, have your documents close at hand, or just being able to adjust the lighting without having to leave your desk will allow for longer periods of focus work and much fewer disruptions. Last, but definitely not the least, personality. This is your opportunity to make your at-home workspace a place that you really want to be. It's an expression of your own unique brand that will inspire you to reach your full creative potential. Whether it's a beautiful area rug or your favorite photograph, or maybe it's just a great view from your workspace, individual authenticity helps us to be more human, and it's an important dimension for emotional well-being at work. When we can capture all 4 of these performance principles, we support individuals by allowing them to work better and feel better while accomplishing all different types of work. In addition to these 4 principles, we can't talk about well-being without also talking about ergonomics. A properly adjusted workspace with the right furniture and tools will help individuals to achieve a natural and comfortable posture that will support their physical well-being while at work. When a person's workspace fits them ergonomically, it allows them to work comfortably for longer periods of time, and it reduces the risk of strains, sprains, and other injuries. Whether sitting or standing or even in a lounge posture, ergonomics is a key factor in ensuring employee well-being and productivity. So now, to reinforce some of these performance and ergonomic principles, we have our very own Anne Gowan, Director of Client Engagement here at POI, sharing how she applies these principles to her own home workspace in this next 3-minute video.
I'm Anne Gowan, Director of Client Engagement with POI Business Interiors, and wanted to walk you through a little bit about comfort, health, and safety as it relates to working from home. And as we navigate this next normal and this ever-changing landscape that we are in. You know, some of us may be ending up working more permanently from home, some semi-permanently, and some on occasion. But there is one thing for sure, that is that we have to be comfortable. In this particular case, you see me standing at a height adjustable desk. It's a small one, 24 by 48, in order to fit into this small 3rd bedroom. I very much encourage postural change, and if it's not with a height adjustable desk, perhaps it's at different locations within your home or within your condo. When I decide that it is time for me to sit, I depress this lever and I take the desk down to my seated height, where I can then have a seat in my ergonomic task chair. My ergonomic task chair is a Think chair from Steelcase, and I'm going to run through a demonstration of the ergonomics that can be applied to any chair that you're sitting in, as long as it's a task chair for your work from home. On the right-hand side typically is the pneumatic, and what you want to make sure is that your feet are flat on the floor, legs at a 90-degree angle. The next thing is seat depth, also equally important to ensure that you have the seat depth properly located in order to have at least 2 fingers behind the back of the knee and the waterfall part of the chair. The other thing that is really great to have is adjustable height arms. These particular arms are both height adjustable, width adjustable, and you also have the ability to be able to push them back should you have to get a little bit closer to your work surface. Very important throughout the day to change your scene, field of vision. Particular spot is a one with a lot of natural light, and I essentially have 2 pieces of equipment. Some kind of chair that gives you a little bit of comfort, could be a lounge chair, as well as a laptop holder. And now for my favorite spot, the ability to be able to work outside. And I can do that with my deck chair, and the same laptop holder that I had in the living area comes outside with me. Place the laptop on the laptop holder, bring it close in, fingers on the keyboard, and I'm ready to go again. So you can see that there are a few different spots that you can accommodate yourself within a home or a condo, and you really only need a couple of pieces. Ergonomic task chair, laptop holder, some kind of surface, and the ability to be able to change posture. Hope this was helpful. Thank you so much.
It's always awesome when we can get a cameo from Anne. So thanks, Anne, for doing that for us. And you know what? Those were some really great home space hacks that she had to share with us today, and a great segue into our next topic. We've talked a lot already about why well-being in the workspace is so important and what principles we need to look for. Now we want to go into a deep dive into the how. We know that not everyone's housing situation or job requirements are the same. Whether you're living in a one-bedroom apartment in the city or a detached home in the suburbs, everyone has a unique set of needs. So when we look at home office situations, we find they fall into three categories: the multi-purpose space, the dedicated workspace, and the enhanced living space. The multi-purpose space is one where an individual has repurposed a living space to accommodate more than one function. In the image above, you can see that the living room has been modified to accommodate a separate workspace within the same room. A compact space, but still a high-performing space. The dedicated workspace is one where you do in fact have a separate space within your residence, like a den or a spare bedroom, one that would only function as your workspace. This might be a dedicated space for you, or one to share with your spouse and maybe even your children who are now navigating online learning. Last category is the enhanced living space. This is where you might augment one of your current living spaces to provide a flexible alternate solution that accommodates the type of work being performed. We'll start by looking at the multi-purpose spaces. And in this first setting, the workspace has been incorporated into the family room. Privacy in this solution is a big focus. The family room can be a busy place throughout the day. So we're challenged with achieving both visual and acoustical privacy in these types of spaces. In this solution, we've added a fabric screen to help buffer those visual distractions and absorb sound. However, the screen is also movable, allowing you to adjust the placement of the screen depending on how much or how little privacy is required. But the best part of this screen is after the workday's done, it's also a great component to an awesome fort in the family room. Something else to consider when we talk about privacy is territorial privacy. In a space like this one, there's no door to close or signal that tells you the space should be treated as separate from the living space. In this setting, as you can see, we've included an area rug. The area rug is a great way to infuse personality into your workspace, but also a way to communicate those territorial boundaries. Adding an area rug can provide a message to others that this is your workspace and a place that's not to be disturbed when in use. In order to support the performance principles and ergonomics of this space, an ergonomic task chair, a monitor arm, and a height adjustable desk, and even greenery are a few more items that have been considered as part of a holistic solution to support productivity and well-being in the home workspace. This multi-purpose space has been situated in the dining space. Because the dining space is not a frequently used space, privacy was less of an issue here. The focus of this space is the height adjustable desk. The height adjustable desk allows for sitting and standing postural changes throughout the day. However, like your task chair or your monitor arm, small adjustments to the height of your work surface can help support the ergonomics of your workspace. We're not all built the same. It's likely that my resting place for my arms is not the same as yours. You might be the same height as me, but your legs might be much longer than mine. Most static height desks are 28.5 to 30 inches high. I know for me, to achieve the proper posture when I'm in a seated position, my most comfortable height is 27.5. So having the ability to adjust my work surface to a comfortable height guarantees that I can work longer and thus be more productive in the work that I do. Some other things to note in this workspace are the desktop power, the side storage, and the task lamp. Being able to power your devices, adjust the light levels to reduce glare, and store your important documents close at hand allows you to remain organized and work longer, but most of all, work comfortable. In this next setting, although at first glance looks similar to the first two, it's different. The desk now has static height. It's likely to be the most common workplace solution that exists in people's homes today. The focus in this solution is how do we support ergonomics and postural changes within this workspace with not as much adjustability as what you saw in the first two scenarios. First of all, in the previous two settings, we've touched on the ergonomic task chair. And as Anne mentioned in her video, it's one of the most essential components in a properly adjusted workspace. In this setting, the task chair really becomes the star of the show, and it allows you to be able to work comfortably and concentrate for longer periods of time. You may also notice that in this and some of the other scenarios we've shown you, that we've included a footrest. As mentioned, everyone's human dimensions are not the same. Having your feet positioned 90 degrees to your ankle is important when we talk about keeping the body in a relaxed, natural position. However, it's also a great tool to allow you to modify your posture while seated, depending on your mode of work. It's really a great complement to an ergonomic task chair. One other thing here to note is monitor position. As you may notice in this setting, there's no external monitor and the laptop is the only technology device being used. Laptops are really great for mobility, but they can for sure lead to awkward postures. In this setting, you can see that we've raised up the laptop and added an external keyboard and mouse in order to assist in maintaining the body's natural posture. So now we have the ergonomics in check when we're sitting. How do we accommodate some postural changes? As you can see, we've added a lounge chair that allows for a quick postural change within the same workspace. In addition, to the lounge chair, we've added a laptop table to support the mode of work and still be in a relaxed posture. In this last multi-purpose setting, the bedroom's been augmented to support the home office. With multiple people working and learning from home, using spaces like bedrooms have been a logical option. Consideration for this space have been around access to work tools and ergonomics and privacy. As you can see in this setting, we've included a dual monitor arm to the workspace. The monitor arm allows you to make slight adjustments to the height of and the distance of your screens, making sure that you're not straining your neck or your eyes in order to avoid fatigue or injury. The bookcases shown on either side of the desk assist in supporting both access to work tools and territorial privacy. With storage solutions in close proximity, where work tools like printers, manuals, and books can be stored, the work surface can remain uncluttered and an organized workspace can be maintained. When it comes to territorial privacy, in this case, the focus is on separating the sleeping space from the workspace. I don't know about the rest of you, but as hard as it was to disconnect from work before this global crisis, with our primary workspaces being in our homes, it's harder than ever to separate work from home. In this setting, the bookcases and the area rug help to delineate between the sleeping space and the workspace. Something else that's important to keep in mind when we're talking about privacy in the bedroom and creating an office space in the bedroom is personal privacy. Mirrors and private artifacts are probably something that you want to make sure are not visible from your laptop camera. The last thing you want is for one of your colleagues to catch the reflection of your partner as they're coming out of the shower. For sure, you're going to be water cooler conversation if that happens. Next, we're going to explore the dedicated workspace. This solution might be a spare bedroom or a den that could be used strictly as a workspace. Here we're showing a static height work surface, but we've addressed the ergonomics with the task chair and the monitor arm. A lounge chair and a laptop table has been added to this space to allow for postural changes throughout the day. Ample storage space ensures that work tools are in close proximity, helping the user to stay on task and maintain focus throughout the workday. This dedicated workspace, while similar to the previous example, is a dedicated space for two. Here we must address the need for territorial privacy between workspaces. The placement of the bookcase between the work surfaces helps to signal where one desk ends and another starts. The height adjustable desk allows for users to modify their workspaces for both individual ergonomic adjustments as well as posture changes throughout the day. The monitor arm or the laptop shelf allows you to ensure that the screens are positioned properly to maintain a natural posture and thus the ability to work comfortably for longer. Notice that in this setting, the position of the desk is such that both individuals are facing in the same direction. This way, they're avoiding the added distraction of talking into each other while on the phone or taking video calls. The last category of the home space we'll talk about is the enhanced living spaces. These are those spaces that are augmented to provide a flexible solution to support the needs of the workday. In this setting, the dining room has been updated to accommodate a workspace. With the addition of the monitor riser, this small adjustment in this space now assists in supporting postural changes, allowing the user to sit or stand, aiding their productivity and their focus through the workday. The kitchen in this enhanced living space is being used as the workspace. While the kitchen's a great place for making dinner and socializing, achieving good ergonomic posture in the kitchen island might be a challenge. After a day of working on your laptop in the kitchen counter, you might feel as though your shoulders are up in your ears. Here we've simply added an ergonomic task stool and a laptop shelf with an external keyboard and mouse. These slight modifications have helped this space to support the body's natural position and the task at hand for longer periods of time. The one thing though it's not going to do is keep you from making those trips to the refrigerator. We could host a whole other webinar on that topic, I'm sure. The last of these enhanced living spaces is the family or the living room. This is definitely one of my personal preferred places to work when I'm at home. However, it can also be one of the most likely places for us to work in uncomfortable or unnatural positions. The simple addition of the laptop table, having access to power and user adjustable lighting can improve posture and comfort, allowing you to be productive longer. One thing to keep in mind with these enhanced living spaces is that when postural changes are not achievable in your primary workspace, and you maybe just need a change of scenery, with some minimal adjustments, these enhanced living spaces are great secondary spaces. Anne's outdoor space was a fantastic example of a great secondary space. So we've looked at a lot of really effective solutions today, and I'm thrilled to say we have another cameo. Bianca Berry, Business Development Manager from Steelcase in Toronto, is joining us today to share the platforms that Steelcase has available for individuals to purchase Steelcase products for their home office. Welcome, Bianca. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Julie. Appreciate being here today. So yes, as Julie said, I'm going to walk you through briefly two of the options that we have here with Steelcase to kind of get your home office started or to start thinking about it for your company. So there's really two platforms that are available. We call them Steelcase Store 1.0 and Steelcase Store 2.0. So the first option is simply a direct-to-consumer platform. So what you'll see is that on our regular steelcasestore.com, you'll have the ability to see what work from home options are available. So whether that's a high adjustable desk, a task chair, or a monitor arm, you can go directly on our store and order it from a consumer basis. So there is a coupon code available through POI. So I did see one of the questions already asking about any discounts that are available. We can certainly offer that on a person-to-person basis. The second one I want to talk a little bit more about more in depth, and that is the 2.0 option. So essentially, you're still going to be working within the store on this option, but what we're going to have is a specifically curated catalog for your company that can be based on your client preference, guidelines, or standards. So this is a really great option if you already have a continuing agreement with Steelcase. We can leverage those client discounts and have a customized login experience for your employees so that they can log in, see what's approved by your company, and then they can be accessible to those client agreements that we have already in place for you. So that's a really good option to think about. But then, of course, the easy part about that is that the client or the employee still pays with their credit card and has an employee purchase. So there's no extra work for you as a company. So those are the two options. We can definitely talk about them more in depth. I would encourage you to reach out to your POI representative, or of course, if you know me already, please reach out to me or your Steelcase rep, and we'd be happy to continue this conversation further. So I'll pass it back to Julie at this point.
Thanks, Bianca. Those are some really great options for us. So thanks for joining. Glad you could be with us today. So now we have our workplaces set. We'd like to finish now with how we get our mind and body set for working from home. Your best place is not likely to be the same as my best place. So find a place that works for you, a place that provides your best opportunities to minimize distractions and those household demands. A space positioned where the view full of a sink full of dirty dishes is nagging you throughout the whole day may not be your best place. And if you don't have a door to shut, find a great pair of headphones that will help cut out some of the acoustic distractions. The temptation to continuously be connected when you work from home can be daunting. So set yourself a schedule for the day and stick to it. Try not to change your daily routine. Get up at the same time, get dressed, work out if that's what you do. Just try to stick to it. Communicate with those in your household and colleagues about scheduled meeting times and time restrictions. Establishing time boundaries can help you maintain a healthy and productive work-life balance. Most of all, remember to be patient. Distractions will happen. Just the other day, I was pulled away from a meeting that I was leading to the cry of, "He's bleeding." So I had to leave and tend to a scraped elbow. It happens to all of us, so go easy on yourself. Activate your mind and body through the day. Look for ways to alter your posture and build in time to move and stretch. Try walking while on conference calls. Movement stimulates your attention. It also improves your mood and allows you to hold information for longer periods of time. Staying connected with your teams is paramount. However, conference calls are easy places for people to multitask or zone out. I'll just send that one more email while Joe's talking. It's an easy thing to fall into. So keep your video on. We need those face-to-face connections. Video is going to help you stay focused on the information being shared. It'll help you to read body language and facial reactions. People are also less likely to interrupt one another when the video's on. Also keep an eye on that camera position. Avoid putting your back to a window and make sure that the camera's at eye level to avoid unflattering shots, or in my case, just to hide my comfortable sweatpants. But most of all, give yourself a break. Avoid eye fatigue from looking at small things on your computer screen all day. Take time every once in a while and look at something in the distance. Rejuvenate your body and mind by doing yoga, walking, or just even getting some fresh air. Natural elements have been proven to re-energize us and help to increase our well-being. Embracing change can for sure be difficult. And right now, we're in uncharted territory, but try to relax, be patient with yourself, and enjoy the journey. So that concludes the portion, my portion of the webinar. We have a fantastic Q&A team that's now going to answer some of your great questions. Stephanie Morowitz, one of our project designers on our studio team here at POI, is going to be our Q&A moderator today. Steph, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Thanks, Julie. I'm happy to be here as the moderator today for this Q&A, as I've been seeing so many compelling questions come throughout the presentation. To help us with some industry insights, we have 3 members on our Q&A panel, and I'm happy to say some of POI's finest. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Gina Nguyen, project designer on our studio team, Marta Ola, team lead strategic accounts, and our lovely presenter, Julie Hicks, studio director on our studio team here at POI. That said, I'm going to pass it over to Gina and the rest of the panel to introduce themselves to you a little further. Gina, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Gina. I have been with POI for the past 6 years as a project designer. I'm a passionate person about creative design and workplace solutions. Whether or not I'm working on a large project with a team or more recent home office solutions, I believe that through listening to our clients, we gain a truer understanding of their needs, and as a result, we can design spaces that inspire but meet clients' functional goals. I look forward to answering some of the questions today, and I very much appreciate being with you all today. Marta, will you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Gina. Good morning, everybody. I joined POI in 2002 as an account manager, and currently I lead our strategic accounts team. We typically specialize in co-creating high-performance workspaces in collaboration with our clients and influencers, But more recently, as a result of the pandemic, we've been mostly focusing on work from home strategies for those same corporate clients, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of those details with you today.
Perfect. So being mindful of everyone's time, I'm going to kick off this Q&A and get us started with a question for our panelist, Gina. Gina, the question asks, what products should we be prioritizing in a home office that would have the most impact?
Thanks, Stephanie. Yes, I can help answer that question. What I would prioritize first are the products that will help with employees' well-being. So my top 3 would be an ergonomic chair, a height adjustable desk or riser to help support seated and seating and standing posture, a laptop stand or a monitor arm, some sort of technology support tool. When you're trying to prioritize what best works in your space, think about what space you have to work with. So for example, I have a small 700 square foot condo I share with my husband. We only have one dedicated workspace. Because I have a laptop, I can work kind of anywhere in our home. So my options were the kitchen counter or the couch. The first thing that I got was an ergonomic task tool that helped me be seated more comfortably throughout the day. The next thing that I got was a laptop stand to prop up my computer to prevent me from looking down on it for long periods of time. This setup is very similar to one of Julie's slides that she shared earlier. And for my husband, he is tied to a desktop computer. So something with height adjustability would be very beneficial to him for his well-being. I think the key here is really to invest in the solutions that will allow for good ergonomics and the ability to change your posture throughout the day. This promotes well-being and, of course, increased productivity and engagement. I hope that answers your question. Stephanie, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. I agree. Flexibility is an extremely important part of our workspace considerations. I'm sure we've all come to notice that by this point in the pandemic. I'm going to go on to our next question. There's a question here in regards to how organizations can assist their employees with work from home programs. Marta, I'm going to ask you to hand this one off, as I know you've been working with many of our clients currently as they themselves are trying to navigate this. So take it away.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, I should start by saying that there really isn't a one-size-fits-all or magic solution to this question. I would say that we're seeing 2 very common approaches. The first one being where an organization determines a particular amount that they would like to provide as a stipend, and then employees are free to purchase items of their choice. Bianca gave us some great information about the Steelcase store, and I think that has proved to be a great online tool for a lot of employees because it gives them that online shopping experience, good quality products, but they can also take advantage of those corporate discount codes that we can offer. And some other organizations are actually going to a pre-approved package where they've decided perhaps they're using some of their standards that they use in their facilities, or some more cost-effective solutions that suit the home office environment. But they partner with POI to manage all of the logistics for the ordering and the installation. This reduces some of the complexity for employees, but still gives them an opportunity to personalize the items so that they can select finishes and options to better suit their home. I hope that answers the question, but I'm happy to connect with anyone else if there's more to come.
Perfect. Thanks, Marta. There's actually another question here. Julie, I'm going to send this one your way. The question asks, how much responsibility does an organization have to ensure employees are working safely at home?
Thanks, Steph. This is definitely an interesting one. One I think we're going to probably be hearing more about and talking a lot more about it over the coming months. The simple fact is that working from home is a reality for a big part of our population. And even when offices are going back, managing density means that people are going to have to continue to work from home or other places, even in a part-time capacity. And as Nick said in his intro, companies are going to have to develop policies and programs around working from home. It would be really nice to be able to say that employers should be providing the same health and safety as well as wellness or well-being support for employees in their homes, the same that they do in their offices, but they really have much less control over what's done in an employee's home. So I think, you know, at minimum, employers are going to need to make sure they provide guidance to their employees, arm them with the right information, the tools, and even some programs that allow them to purchase products that have been vetted so that they can feel confident in their purchases. You know, the cost of injury claims surpass the cost of an ergonomic setting at home for both the employer and the employee. So I think it's really worth the investment on the employer's part to make their work from home employees aware and set them up for success, even if it's as little as arming them just with knowledge and information on how to do it properly to prevent injury and strains. So yeah, I mean, information is really power.
Okay, so with that, actually there was another question that came up that was a little similar, and I'm going to pass this one over to Nick. Nick, the question asked, is the company or is the worker responsible if a person is working from home if they get injured? How will companies handle insurance?
Hi, Steph. Thanks for the question. You know, I'm not an HR expert, but my comment on that would be that you really should check with your human resources department on that. Obviously, when people are working in the field, whether it's a construction person or an office worker going to visit another client and you're injured in the field, company insurance would cover that. I'm assuming that it would be at home, but I would the same situation at home, but I would recommend that you do connect with your human resources company to find out what the policy is and what your coverage would be for your particular company. Is there a second part to that question, or does that answer that, Steph?
I think you answered it. So there's one question here. I'm going to call Gina again to answer this one. Gina, the question asks how you can properly adjust your task chair at home.
Okay, thanks, Steph. I think my best advice would be to go to the chair manufacturer's website. So for example, if you have a Steelcase chair, go to the Steelcase website and look under products, find the make and model of your chair and read the product information guide, or perhaps watch some sort of informative video of how to adjust all the functions, the bells and whistles of your chair. Or you can also watch Anne's video earlier. She does show how you can adjust a chair properly. It will be posted on the POI website, I believe. What I'll also do is include a link in the Q&A for the Steelcase Chairs website so that you can reference it. I don't think there's anything else I want to add. Thank you, Steph. Next question.
That was perfect. Thanks, Gina. Okay, Marta, there's a couple questions here in regards to budget and pricing. So let's get into the juicy stuff. There are a couple questions ask, are there any considerations for changing the price points of products as individuals and or companies may find affordability of products to be higher or out of reach price points? So how can companies properly budget to support a home office program? Are you able to share any insights with us on those?
Sure, no problem. Thanks for the question. I know that this is a particularly challenging time for everyone, and we have been mindful that we need to be able to provide a really wide range of solutions. So sometimes I think people assume that they can't afford a good quality contract piece of furniture, so they opt for something that might be a retail solution and may not have the same level of adjustability or perhaps the same kind of quality. So although it might seem like a lower cost up front, it may not perform for as long or as well as something that a contract piece can offer. So I think people might be a little bit surprised that because of the range of products that we can supply, perhaps they've associated us with very high-end pieces, but while we can still provide those if someone's looking for something very customized, I've pulled together just some examples of budget ranges for the key pieces that Gina mentioned to have in a home workspace. So a good chair with excellent adjustability, and again, the same kind of warranties and testing that our customers are expecting in their products for their offices can range anywhere from $250 to $400. A fixed desk, I would say, from around $250, height adjustable in the $500 to $600 range, and then some basic accessories. Again, I think Gina touched on this, having something to raise your monitor. Perhaps it's just some basic blocks, or perhaps it's a monitor arm. Those can range anywhere from $25 to $100. So just as a really high level budget, rather, you can outfit an entire office for as low as $1,000, and you're still getting, again, same kind of quality, the warranty, and the service that POI provides. I hope that answers that question.
Perfect. Actually, don't go anywhere, Marta. There's another question here that is similarly relating back to pricing. So I'm going to shoot this one your way as well. It says, after outlining a budget, do you know where employers and or employees can go to actually purchase some of these products?
My recommendation would be to reach out to your POI representative. As Bianca alluded, we do have a number of different options, whether they are direct online sources or something that POI can facilitate for you. If you don't have a direct POI contact, please don't hesitate to just submit an inquiry through our website, and we'll get back to you right away and connect you with the appropriate team member. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Marta. Okay, Gina, you're up for one more. There's one here that is relating back to investing in the home office space. So the question reads, is an investment in the home office worthwhile if we end up going back to the office in the future?
Yes, thanks, Steph. That's a really, really great question. I think what it really boils down to is whether or not the home office is relevant in our future state of work. I would say the home office is here to stay. Julie mentioned earlier that the workforce, part of the workforce, already work from home. And studies have showed that after the pandemic, many would like to continue to work from home because they've seen the successes. I think at least 2 to 3 days a week, part-time basis at least. Work from home is become an acceptable practice. The home office will kind of become a holistic ecosystem approach to the workplace. Additionally, we don't know what the future is going to hold, so we should be prepared for what's next to ensure that business keeps on moving forward no matter what hits. We know that the office likely is going to change. What the future will hold, we don't know. It's possible that the office space is going to be more about learning, collaborating, social interactions, and moving forward, the home office will become a support for focused work. If we are going to invest, I think we need to invest in the products that I mentioned earlier, a good task chair. Julie mentioned, studies have shown that one ergonomic chair is less cost than, the injury from one claim of an ergonomic related injury is less than the cost of one task chair. So obviously, health and well-being is still relevant, whether or not in the home office or at the office. I hope that helps, Stephanie.
It does. Thanks, Gina. Okay, looking at the time, I'm going to say we have time for one last question, and I've actually been holding on to this one because I think it's a good one for us to conclude on. So I'm going to ask Julie, our lovely host, to see if she can answer this one. Julie, the question reads, what do you think the purpose of the office as we once knew it will be and or become?
Steph, I love this question, and I totally agree with you. It's a great one to close on. So there's a ton of research still being done on the future of the office. So there's going to be lots more to come on that. I think we got a little bit of ways to understand what this is going to look like. But I really think that it is going to look different for many of us. Change is tough, and often it happens slow. But I think in this case, we were all standing at the edge of a cliff, and none of us jumped. We were all pushed, and we hit the water pretty quick. So while change can be hard and scary for some, I think it's what helps us evolve. And in some ways, I think we were on our way there. I've been in the design industry for almost 2 decades now. Wow, it doesn't feel that long until you say it out loud. But anyway, I have seen so much evolution in the workplace already. I've lived the hierarchy of the corner office. I've seen the panels come down, and in some cases now the private offices have disappeared altogether. And the conversations of late have been around agile spaces, more flexible workspaces, ones that allow us to collaborate and better innovate together. So when we look at what's happened in the last 3 months, we can see we don't necessarily have to rely on the office for our focus work. There are other places that we've been able to do that. But we need these places to build relationships, to collaborate together, to innovate, to learn. So I'm really excited to see what comes next. I think our workplaces are just going to get better and better once we start really understanding what we need them for. And I think that's the important takeaway here, is that we need to start asking ourselves, why do we need the office? Why do we want people to come back? What are they going to be doing there? And that's really, the groundwork for looking at this future office and what it's going to be. But yeah, I'm excited. I think it's that next evolution of how we work. So I'm looking forward to all the information that's coming out, and I'm sure when we have information that we can share, we'll be back here again with you. So I think at that, everybody's probably had enough of listening to me talk. So thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to me. And thanks to our great team. And I'm going to pass you back to Nick, who's going to formally close us out and say goodbye. So until next time, off to you, Nick.
Thanks, Julie. Awesome presentation. A lot of great information there. And again, we'll be sharing that on our website if anyone wants to go back to review. Thanks also to Bianca of Steelcase for telling us about different web options that we have, and then for Anne for that special cameo, bringing us into her home. Gina, Marta, and Stephanie, thanks for answering those questions that came in today. So to our guests, thanks for hanging around with us for this hour. If you would like to learn more or discuss further work from home ideas, please do not hesitate to connect with your POI or Steelcase salesperson. We really appreciate you taking time to spend with us today and look forward to seeing you soon in the near future. Have a great rest of the day. Stay healthy and happy, and bye for now.